Today we are doing some finishing for the Halloween block party. This is a 12-part series that I did exclusively with Crazy Annie's Stitching, and each chart is released monthly, so there's 12. It goes for the full year. It started in October of last year, 2023. And this was the first one, so Frank's house. And then this would have been October, November, December, January, and February. So I'm a little bit behind on my finishing. But as I sort of discussed before with you guys, is that for these ones, I was going to do more of like a sign option display for around the house, and then these ones, the little houses, I wanted to do on the block forms to create like a little Halloween village. So we're going to finish these two in the block form, and then this one will be another kind of sign. I'm thinking more of a stand-up. This is like a little hanging one, and I'm thinking a stand-up one for this. These, I have the option, all come individually with the black border if you're stitching them individually. I've left it off the ones with the houses just for a cleaner display for the village. I just kind of thought I wanted it more simple, blocked off, and then did the stitching of the black border around these ones for the sign displays. So if you're stitching them individually, you can do with the black border around each one, and you could still finish it on a block form with the black border. It's just a different detail. I kind of felt like with doing extra detailing around it, that's just what I wanted to do, was just the white border on those ones. There is also a large black border if you wanted to stitch these all together. So it would look like this. And then this one goes here, and then there's a trick or treat, and then there's the 6 others that are all included with the large border that looks very similar to this, but it goes around the whole thing. That is a free PDF download on my website if you are stitching them together, which I think would look really cool as one big piece as well. But yeah, so today let's go ahead and get these ones finished. I'm going to do 2 block forms, and then we'll figure out something else for the sign for this one and get caught up with the series. So these ones I did the stitching on, and then these 3 I've actually had sent out to my model stitcher, Kimberly. So we've got those ones ready to go. I just haven't got around to finishing them, so I'm really excited to sit down and spend some time doing that today. And hopefully if you guys are doing this series, you will get some ideas of how to finish them yourselves. And if you are stitching it all together, please share your progress, where you're at, and if you're doing them individually, please, again, I would love to see how everybody is finishing them. I really love this little series, especially these little fun houses. I had a lot of fun creating this, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. I would love to know what you guys think. So when I first did the Frank's house, I actually used 2 4x4 canvases. One I covered with fabric, and the other one I covered with the stitch. And then I glued them together, used this ribbon to cover the seam. Works really great. It stands nice, nice and sturdy. Didn't have to cut a foam block or anything like that. So this was a really good starting point for these. But since then, I kind of thought, well, why wouldn't I just get a deeper canvas? So I've gone and done that. So these are from Micheals. This is the 4x4 size, which fits these perfectly without the black border. If you were going to keep the black border on, you would want the 5x5. But for it without the 4x4, it works great. So this is the wider canvas. So it's about almost 1.5 inches, yes, 1.5 inches wide. But these are perfect because they are nice and sturdy. They've got the wood core, so they've got a good weight to them. They have like the edges cleaned out with the extra bulk of the canvas, so it's a nice trimmed up edge there. so there's no extra bulk on the sides of the canvas, and they're a perfectly nice squared off sharp corners there, so not like the rounded edges as much. So they sit nice and sturdy and perfect. This, you could absolutely, because it's solid wood too, you could put something on top, like drill something in there if you wanted to, like a knob or something like that. But these work wonderful. So we're going to cover it with fabric. Now, another thing I would say you could do, it's a canvas, so you could paint it. You could do a Mod Podge of something on it if you wanted to. There's so many possibilities with these, but I am going to do fabric for the Halloween collection, and we're going to cover that up with fabric and then finish this onto a mat board like we would for any of our typical finishes, and then we can put it on the front there. If you were doing this for a seasonal project and you wanted to, like if it was like a monthly calendar or a 4-season collection and they were all the same size, and you wanted to keep the back more of a neutral basic that matches your home decor, and then you could just do a magnet on here as well to switch the pieces in and out. These come in all sorts of different sizes because they're canvases. Michaels always has really good sales on them, 70% off, buy one, get one free. So just keep an eye out for when they have sales on and pick up a bunch in different sizes to keep on hand because they're super handy to have. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you just how quick and easy it is to finish these. And yeah, let's get started with that. All right. So I used polka dots on this one. I just have it here sort of so I remember what I used. I kind of have a collection of fabrics I thought I might use with this series. So we're just going to find something that I like with the candy house. This one's got quite a bit of color in it. I'm thinking more of a basic, and then maybe I'll go with the polka dot for that one. Don't want to do all polka dots offhand. Like they don't have to be in the order that they come monthly either. Once I make the display, I can move them around, but just trying to get an idea. Maybe do, oh, I think maybe I'm going to do the stripe for that one. I'm going to go with this stripe and the buffalo plaid. So we just want to make sure we have enough fabric to come up and over on all sides to cover into that center. It's about 2.5 inches on either side just to come up and give enough of a coverage. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're gonna go 2.5 and we're just gonna eyeball. A little wrinkly. Out of here. I'm just trying to, because this one is got the squared, it's squared off, I want to make sure that I'm lining this up on here and that it's going to be square on the canvas, because you'll notice that with the stripes we'll have to keep them straight on there as well, but like polka dots you don't have to worry, right? But if you've got a pattern to your fabric that's going to show, you just want to make sure that you're lining it up and taking that time to get that checker on squared on there. So when you're pulling your fabric on, when we're gluing, we want to make sure we're pulling it at the same tension so that it's not going to create a wave in our pattern. So this has a little bit of an indent groove in between the two woods there. I'm just using that crevice to kind of put the glue in, just so I'm not creating any extra bulk on the front there. Everything's staying nice and smooth. So for our corners, I typically, like you're folding a present, I guess. So we can go in and put a little bit of glue in the corner there. So that we can keep that nice and pressed. And then I just fold this part. Here I'm gonna tack it here. I'm still gonna leave this up. I don't wanna glue that corner down quite yet because I do wanna wrap my other fabric over it. I'll glue in there to just kind of press that corner so that we can get that nice seam in there. And then I just hold this down here and pull this until it gets to the proper. So we're just going to go like this and pull that until it's at the proper fold. And then I always like to keep the corners. I don't want it here because if you might, like, that's fine to do because honestly we're probably going to have trim and stuff around. You're not going to see it. So if that's easier, that's fine too. But because I've got this nice and pressed with a little bit of glue in there, I can now take this and so I've got that seamed in there. I can now take this and just fold that over. And then when we glue it down, we've got a nice pressed corner. So I'm going to just do that again a little bit cleaner because I was doing it in the air, not being able to see. So, so we're just going to fold that over, and then we're going to go in and put some glue and just make sure we get it pressed down nice. So again, I just put a little bit of glue in there, and then so it holds that seam. And then we're gonna just grab the fabric and pull it up and then fold it over. So pull it up and fold it over. And yes, I recommend you iron your fabric ahead of time. Often we're pulling it so tight on these kinds of forms and stuff that you can get those creases out. But I would recommend doing that. I did not because I forgot to set that part up, and I'm kind of just doing this in the moment with the time I have today, so it's a little, we get what we get. Okay, again, put some in there, and then we're just gonna pull and tuck that, move it till where we want it. I'm a little tight on my edge here. I had too much this way and not enough this way. I think because I was trying to get that And I didn't even get it. I'm still off, but anyways, I think I was trying to line it up within the, you know, to have it kind of spaced evenly in here. But I am definitely a little tight on this. It'll still be enough, but something I should have double checked on that, I guess, a little bit better. So anyways, we've got our nice crisp corner there. And then we're gonna tuck that over and glue it down. That one was a little... Next time, leave more fabric, Erin, than you think you might need. More is always better. You can always trim it down after. Okay, so for these corners, again, I'll show you, we want to pull this nice and flat here, and then we just go straight up, and that's how we get that corner seam, okay? So pull that on the side, and then we make that nice corner piece there. So we just put a little bit of glue in that and then sandwich it together, and we get a nice crisp corner. Pull this fabric to the corner and up and over. Put a little bit of glue there to hold that corner down. And then just pull it nice and flat. All right, so there we go. We've got, it's pretty good on the back there for being squared up. There's one side, well, I guess both of these sides are, this one's not as bad, but this one is, you can see there's a bit more wobble in the material. These are the sides that have those folded fabric pieces on it here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we put those as our sides so that our top and our bottom are both nice and flush and flat still. There's no bulk in those corners to kind of add. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Like, it's still going to stand perfectly fine. It's just going to not sit quite as sturdy. Well, it's not that it's sturdy, I guess. It's still sturdy. It's just a smoother edge for it to sit on. If you wanted the top and bottom to have that bulk so you don't see it on the sides, I mean, you don't really see it when you're looking at it, but anyways, that's just my suggestion, is let's put the bulk of the fabric on the sides and leave the top and the bottom as the nice clean flat. So that is the back base. So we're going to finish this onto a mat board now to put on here. And you can do it with or without batting. It's your choice. I'm going to use a little bit of batting. I just like the look of it. And then I'm going to look for possibly trim to go around the outside of that board, or we're going to maybe do a ribbon around. I've got a few things over here in my trim, so we'll pull those and have a look and see what's going to work. And then it's a pretty, I mean, this is a pretty quick and easy finishing process. So I've got some mat board. All right, so we've got our mat board. I'm just measuring here. It's just a little over 3.5. So it's actually 3 5/8 square. And we know that these are supposed to be and are a 4x4 size. So if we wanted it to come right out to the edge, 4x4 is what we would cut our mat to. And then you can also just like lay that on there and see exactly how much of breathing space that gives you around your piece. If you want to do a trim around it, I would almost do it a little bit in from the 4x4. But if we did 4 3/4, that's pretty tight to the piece. I think for this one, I'm just going to do the 4x4 and we're going to see how that fits and looks. And then if we need to make an adjustment, then we can after. I might just go like 1/8 down, so technically 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. I might do that just to give it a little bit of space by the time we wrap the fabric and stuff on it. So not that I think it's going to take up that much, but we never know. So this board is not squared off by any means. So I'm going to do that first. I think my least favorite thing to do is cut down mat board. Okay, so I will say I have one of these nice larger, the Creative grids. They're the anti-slip. They've got the little grip on it. These work so much better than this plastic, this smooth plastic. There's nothing, so these slide all over the place. This size is way nicer, obviously for your table space than this big board, but these, I have to get more of these in smaller sizes for cutting mat board and stuff like that, because these honestly make such a difference. But I always have so much extra on my workspace that this size is only good for when I'm doing my quilting and stuff. But I definitely need to get more of these because they stay in place. Like, it doesn't shift around like that other one. And when you're cutting, be safe with your rotary cutter. I know I'm a little bit chaotic with mine. Probably make people nervous. It's just how I work. Okay, so that, honestly, rulers make the difference. This ruler, don't get anything else. You need to get one that has the little anti-slip grip things, because for quilting and for mat board, it makes the world of difference. It's got that all around the edge here, and then all these little dots are the little grippy. You can feel the texture on the back, and my goodness, it truly, truly does make the world of difference. These are must-haves in any, oh, I did say I was going to go just, let's do it just 1/8 smaller. Okay. Looks pretty good. See, I should have been using this ruler more, but I just never grab it because of the size. So I think first thing I have to do after I'm done this video is find them in smaller sizes. They are expensive, but talking with Stephanie, the New England Stitcher, actually one day about that, that these are the best, and totally agree. I think she said that Hobby Lobby might sell them in packs. The only place I can find them here in Canada is our quilt shop, and they're quite pricey for the individuals, but I think she said that Hobby Lobby had them in a pack, and you can use coupon too. So take a look, but honestly, it's the Creative grids, and there's nothing like this. Makes the world of difference. So I'm gonna have to see where I can find some. Oh, okay. So there is our, it doesn't quite look straight, does it? Was that first cut I made? It's just ever so slightly off on that one edge. Just tell. This is going to be a tricky one to... Set that little... Okay, that's better. Must-haves for finishing: rotary cutter, mat, ruler. Make sure it's a good ruler that doesn't slide all over the place. Okay, and then we can always check to make sure things are nice and squared off. So see, that gives us just the slightest, by the time we wrap our fabric around that, that's going to be perfect. All right, so I got some batting here. I'm just going to give it, I'm actually going to spray my board. Spray the board or the batting. Okay, just with a little bit of the batting adhesive. I'm using the tiniest little scrap here, trying to use up this. It just fits just perfect. So, but just any kind of batting adhesive just helps to keep that in place when we're trimming it and putting our piece around it. You don't have to do that. I just prefer it. Then I don't have things sliding around. I don't even think this side needs much of a trim. Okay. So there we go. Make sure there's no strings or anything stuck in the batting. And then we want to take our piece. Again, you can stitch or glue, whichever you prefer. That looks pretty good. So this has quite a bit of fabric around it. I'm just gonna eyeball and take some of that edging off. I'm gonna take my corners off here too. Just take out a little extra. Make sure we're still lined up nice. Now this is stitched on 14 count vintage country mocha Aida. So I always find Aida's really nice for finishing because it has more structural integrity to it. So it's easy to find the square of the fabric and keep that for placement. So okay, and then I'm just gonna tack down, go side to side. So I'm just gonna pull and make sure I got that nice and then before we get too far, we just want to flip back, make sure everything is still nice and square. And then we're gonna go opposite side to side. Always be careful when you're using the hot glue because it does come through the fabric a little bit sometimes, so just make sure you know, you don't burn yourself. And then for my corners, I like to pinch them together. So what I'll do is put same kind of ideas with the other when we're doing the block. Just put a little bit of glue in there, and then I just go in and pull that nice and tight so that I get that crispness in there. And then I do like a double fold. So like I fold this way, and then I kind of flip it back this way. And that's how I always, if I was lacing, I would do that and then lace it down on, like sew it down on either side there. But with the glue, I just go in and glue the one side down, flip it around, and we're gonna glue that side down. And then that way we get not all the bulk on one section of it, but you also get a really nice sharp corner. Nice crisp corner there. So, and the bulk is pretty minimal. It's not all on one side, dispersed nicely. So we'll go and do the other ones. So again, a little bit of, just a tiny bit of glue in there, and then just pull that in nice and tight. And then we do a fold it one way, and then fold it back. And flip up, a little bit of glue, flip up, a little bit of glue. And there we have our cute candy house. And it fits on there perfectly. So now we'll look to see if, I kind of feel like I probably do want a little bit of a trim or something around it. And then some kind of a bow or ribbon on top with a button. So let us see what we have. Okay, so this looks pretty bright, but by the time I get it in here, and I feel like it matches this fabric really nice, it also kind of matches more of the brighter oranges that the collection has. So I think I'm going to go ahead with that around. It just gives an extra little pop of color, texture, interest around, makes the design kind of pop a little bit. And yeah, and then I think we'll finish it with some sort of cool something on top. So and this piece is plenty big enough. I'm going to start in the bottom. I'm going to leave a little extra. So just leave a little extra tail so that we can try and match that up a bit better once we come all the way around. And we're just going to go put a little bit along the edge and then get that right in place as to where we want it. This was just a trim that I got in a bundle pack from Micheals. They have the nice different strips of trims for different seasons and stuff that and they usually go on buy one get one free for the ribbon bundles. So it's good. That's a good thing to keep an eye out. It's kind of how I've built my stash of trims because you never know. I find that's the hardest thing is you want something. Pom Pom and Rick Rack is always a good go-to, but it's nice to have something different like this. This is a really fun trim, but collecting all the rolls of them can be a lot. So the bundles of all the different seasonal ones. I think they've got neutral bundles and stuff as well that they carry like all the time, but check it out for sure. Keep an eye out for those. Okay, so it meets up pretty nice there. So I'm just going to fold that back. I don't like to trim it right to the edge because I always find that these kinds of trims and stuff, like they'll fray. So unless you're using like fray check or putting a bit of the hot glue on there and like smushing it in, it's always good to just fold it down. So see how that loop actually hits perfectly there. So all I'm going to do is just put the glue on in here so that I can glue that piece there right down, and then I'm gonna pull that part back and we're just gonna tack that tail down too. So just kind of gets in there, and then when you look at it from the front, you can't even tell that it was joined there, and you don't have to worry about it fraying because those pieces are going to be at the back. So then we obviously don't need to keep that tail that long. Pull it off and we got all the ugly frayed bits just tucked in there. And there's still not too much bulk there because of the way we spliced that. So, focus. Yeah. All right, we got our fabric on the sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue that on there. All right, and then I think I'm gonna do a stripe. Black and white stripe on this one. With tails or without? I think with. So I just measure, what I did is I did like a double rough to the size I want there. So I'm gonna say about that for my top bow. So I've got a little bit of overlap. Just always leave a little overlap for that. And then this is probably the perfect for, yeah. So do I want, I think I want, so we're gonna fold and trim. And then we get our perfect little fold, trim. That point I didn't quite get it far enough down, so let's give it another little, whoop. And we're just gonna check to see. I think by the time we get that on there, that's pretty good length for the tails. We can always trim those after too if we want to. So I just have a piece of wire. All right, so for my bows, I use wire. I got these ones just from the dollar store in their craft aisle. Gardening wire, anything like that works great. Just a bendable. And I always do a little overlap of the tails and then find the center. And then we're just going to squish them together and wrap the wire twist. Make any adjustments we might need to make for whether it is in the center or not before we get too crazy with the wrapping. I just eyeball. If you wanted to be a bit more precise, you could get down on your mat and kind of, well, it's like right on and measure it out. So that's another, you can use your mat for a lot more than just cutting. So, all right. So that looks pretty good. We don't need to go too crazy with wrapping it. Use your craft scissors that don't matter if you cut wire. Might have made it a bit too big. I think it's okay. Well, maybe. Try and pull those a little. I think I probably have to undo it if I want to really make it any adjustments to it, because I've got it wrapped around a little tight there, so got a little bit of pull, but let's see. Might just be enough. I just think this type of, it doesn't have a wire in it or anything, so it's just the fabric ribbon, so it's not really like puffing up as much. Yeah, I think that'll be good. It's quite stripy. Went bold with this one, didn't I? So I'm just going to trim those little ends because I did pull them a little bit more than normal. So I'll get rid of that. Okay. And then we're going to center it on there and do the same. There's lots of different ways to do bows. This is just what works best for me. You don't have to do the wire either. If you're comfortable, just go ahead and glue. I like to just make sure I'm getting it where I want everything. So there we can kind of see our length of our tails there and make sure that they're even. If we want to trim them, go for it. I think I'm going to try with that, and then we can always trim later. So I'm going to get rid of that little bit of wire. And then we've got our bow for the top. So this tail looks a little longer. I'm just going to trim that one a little bit. There. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to do a covered button for in the center. And I picked some of this orange fabric. I thought that was a nice option there. So I'm just going to cut out a chunk of that. Sometimes you get the little round discs to measure for the buttons. You can get them. This pack I got didn't have it. I don't have one for this size, so I just put them in. So we just squish it in with the fabric. And then I just go around and trim it. So just leave a little bit to fold in. Don't want to leave too much because it creates too much bulk, but that's pretty good. And then I just take the little thing they give you with them, just squish it all together, and I just go around and make sure that I get that fabric all squished in there. The cover buttons, it's always fun to do like a little stitch if you pulled something. Like you could pull a bat from this one and stitch it on a piece of fabric and then do a covered button of it. But that we just want to squish the fabric all in there. And then this pack came with like the flat backs or the button type, so if you were going to sew it onto something, you have the ones with the little eyelet, or there's the flat back option. So I'm just going to use the flat back because we're just going to be gluing it today. And yeah, so then we just push that in there and just give it a good, I find it easier to flip, and then you can feel it when it pops. So that one in, and then we just pop the button out, and there you've got your covered button. So easy, makes all the difference for the finish. So we're gonna just tack this down and then we're done. A little glue for the ribbon. Got a little sloppy there. Still feel like all right, so there we have it. Candy House is done. I love the combination of like buffalo plaid stripes, polka dots, all those things. They are my favorite, and I don't think you can have enough of them together. So I love this. It's perfect. My bow loops might be a little bit, no, I like it. I like it just as is. So there you go. That is the Candy House block finish. Super easy finish to do. Hardest part's cutting that mat board, and like I say, if you have the proper rulers, it works so much better. So there, we've got two. You can see the size difference in these slightly. This one, like I said, has more of that rounded edge because of the type of canvases I used. So it's got more of a round to it. And it's not as heavy. It still stands and is sturdy. But that is a second house for the Halloween block party. So by the end of it, we're gonna have 6 of these cute little blocks and really truly have a cute little Halloween block party. So love how that one came together. Super fun, and I cannot wait to get them all staged together as a little village. So let's go ahead and do the second one of these. So we've got the ghost house. We're gonna go and trim some more of that mat board, cover the back, and see what comes together for this one. So we went and cut that at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 just to give us that extra little bit of room for the material. Again, you guys, this board makes, I cannot believe I haven't been using it just because it's so long. This is a 24.5-inch length, which is great for quilting, but I just don't have the desk space here with all my other stuff. I mean, I may do with it, but it's just not as handy as I really like this size. I think this is a 9.5 by 9.5. I think even if like a 6 by 6 would be nice too. So, or some other sizes smaller than this as well for the smaller projects, but this is a pretty handy size that fits on the desktop nicely. So anyways, there we go. We're gonna get some more of our batting. All right, so again, we're just gonna make sure we are getting that on the front nice and square, and then we're gonna place it down and trim off some of the excess fabric. Okay, I'm gonna work side to side, so pull those sides up, flip and make sure we're still squared. Everything still looks good there. put a little glue in there, squish that together, and then fold that way and then back that way. A little bit of glue. All right, so there we go. So that's perfect. Now we're gonna do the fabric. See if this is enough here. It's enough. I'm always a little, try to use up what I have scrap wise. So could give myself a bit more to play with, but I think that this will make do with. So again, I'm just lining this up on the stripes here to kind of make sure I'm gonna get that all squared off nicely. We're gonna, oopsies, one thread. Okay, so I'm going to do this, tack these sides down first because of the striping, to make sure I keep my placement. Actually, I think I'm gonna do these ones so that I'm not pulling the wave of the stripe. Yeah, I'm gonna do the sides first because I just feel like if I'm doing this, I'm making this wave more. So I'm gonna place this where I want it here on these striping patterns. And then I'm gonna pull it tight end to end. And hopefully that'll help keep that stripe nice and straight. I probably should have ironed that one, you guys. Oops, it's got quite the crease in it, doesn't it? Well, hopefully we can just pull it tight, and I mean, honestly, I can always iron it after. Yeah, that's a pretty big fold that was in the fabric for quite a while, so I should have ironed that one out. Learn from me, iron your fabric first. So again, we pull that fabric and this fabric. So this goes in, and then we want to put glue in there and just right from that corner edge up. So we just put a little bit of glue along there, and then we sandwich up, and create that nice crisp corner. All right, and then for this part, we just tuck and roll that fabric till we get it to the right corner, and then up and over. So pull, we'll create that edge. I'm gonna try, because I've done this a few times now, I'm gonna try and not use that hot glue to form that edge in there. I'm just gonna, ooh, you guys, I didn't leave myself very much fabric here. So what have we learned? don't be too chintzy with your fabric, trying to use up your scraps. If you don't use it for this project, you'll find a purpose for that scrap fabric another time. Lesson learned, Erin. And maybe check your fabric to see if it needs a press before we get started. So, I never claim to be an expert, but we definitely learn things along the way. I didn't know how to do this in the beginning. I just trial and error. So just kind of come up with an idea and have to sit down and try different things, different techniques. And even though I'm showing you guys how I finish this right now, the next time I do one of these, maybe I'll have a different way of doing it. You just, like I say, you kind of learn as you go and make adjustments, learn things from other people, and yeah. All right, so again, push that fabric over. So there is our backer for Ghost House. Super cute. I'm kind of thinking, because this is so orange, I'm kind of feeling like maybe we go with a black for this one, for the trim around. I have some black and oranges. Let's see what those look like. That's kind of fun too. I kind of like that one. Let's do it. Let's do something different. What's this one? That's fun too, but I don't think it's gonna like fill in on this very well. I just don't think it's quite right for this. I mean, you could do, if you did it like that, but then I think you lose half this would be fun for a pillow or something. So I think we're gonna do this one. I have a little bit of this on the Frank's house, but yeah, so I'm gonna go with this, just having a little bit of that orange showing and then the black sticking out. So just ever so slight of the orange. Okay, yeah. So let's use this end. So again, we're gonna start about halfway, but we're gonna leave a little bit of a tail there, so that we've got something to hold there to start, but also then we can fold that end back over. So let's get going. Ooh. So this one, so as I'm putting it on, I'm just looking at it from the front so that I can make sure I'm getting kind of the same amount of it showing how I want it to show. But this is pretty cool trim to go from. This is again from that Micheals bundle I got. So keep an eye out for those trim packs because they're so handy. So there we have the trim for the ghost house. I love how that came together. I just think that that black and the orange plays so well off of this. So, and then with the stripe, it is just perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and glue that down. Okay, so there is a little bit of a gapping on this that I'm not loving. This didn't, I should have maybe, what would have been better is if I put this on and then went around and I could, I mean, I could still kind of push and move that to kind of fill that, but I think what I like is I have some of this trim that I'm gonna go now around and kind of place in there. I like that look because it actually breaks, it gives me more of that black and breaks up some of that orange too. So I actually really do like that effect that it's giving me. So I'm gonna go and do that and that'll help take care of that gapping in there. You wouldn't really see it, but it was bugging me and I ended up finding this and I actually thought, okay, that looks even cooler than what I was going for here. So it was a happy little accident. Sometimes you don't know until you get it all together how it's gonna look. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue in there and then I'm going around. I might tack this sort of down so it's folded onto this part a bit more than anywhere, and rather than just like sort of free. Yeah. Okay. I don't really know what I'm doing, so you guys will just follow along and see how it comes out, okay? This is a cool trim. This would be really fun on a pillow too. Again, was part of one of the bundles I got. It's a good little bundle. You know, when I bought that Halloween one, I wasn't really sure. Sometimes you look at them all together and you're like, oh, I don't know if I would use that. And then when you have it in your stash, you're like, get to do things like this and pull it out and go, hey, that does work pretty cool. Oop. Yeah, this is hiding that, all the imperfections perfectly. It's doing what I wanted it to do. This one spot, I want it to tack to the front. Well, I guess I need a little more glue in there. So I kind of just want it to tack to the front part, and then it rolls over the back. There we go. So it's like I'm just making sure it's attaching to the front of this piece, and then it can kind of flop back to hide the... I'm just going to kind of tack that in place. Oh, I like that. That's such a fun trim. It's just kind of like a ruffle, really. I hope I have another, I do have another piece of it, so I'll have to use that on a pillow. Fill one of these into a pillow finish and use it. Because I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe do a layered like this with something, a little finer detail on top of it. It's kind of a cool idea. A rickrack or a palm would have been good for this too. Now here comes the fun part, because I already have this on the block. So I'm not able to finish it the way I normally would, where I fold the trim back over. So we're going to have to I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on there, let it sit for a minute before I decide to squish it into the fibers. Hope that this works. Stuff wants to fray like crazy. So this is on the bottom. I am just gonna tuck that down and then put a little hot glue on that fraying end. And I'm just gonna tack it. And I personally, I got more hot glue on there than I wanted. This is right on the bottom. I would rather it be tacked down, and actually tacky glue would have been good to use too, because it would have dried clear. But I would rather it be tacked than fray and see a little bit of that glue. So I could have done a neater job there, but it is what it is. Like I say, it's on the bottom and nobody's going to see that. Well, unless they pick it up to look at it and inspect it closely. There we go. Oh gosh, you guys, I love this. This is so cute. Oh, I love it so much. This one turned out so cute. Isn't it crazy how just adding some fabric and trim can really elevate the piece and take it from one look to a completely different. I'm really loving the look of this one, even without anything on top. But I think to keep them consistent, I'm going to go ahead and do a bow on top for this one too. It's got this cute sheer ribbon. So for this one, I am just going to do the bow. I'm not going to do tails. I like this brightness of the fabric. This is a nice sheer, so it's not going to take away from it too much. So again, I've just got my two tails overlapped here, and then I'm just eyeballing this about where the center of that is. Again, you could use your mat. So we're just going to twist that on. Perfect. Alright, I think I'm going to do an off center bow. I have so much confidence in myself, don't I? I don't know, it looked cute there when I was pushing it down. I think it's cute. What do you guys think? Does it look goofy? I like that you can still see this orange stripe from the front. So when you're looking at it, you can still see a lot of that. I just thought this looked kind of cute off to the side for something different. Let me know what you think. Does it bother you off to the side? I'm sure probably some people need it to be in the center. I don't know. I think I like it off to the side. When I did put it in the center, you can see I have a little dollop of glue left there. Oops. I tried it there, and guess what? It just, to me, covered up too much of that fabric. So then I thought, okay, let's leave it off, and then that's not too bad. You can see it, but really you can't when you're looking at it. So you can probably see it glaring in the camera, but in person you barely notice it. I honestly wouldn't notice it unless I was looking for it. So anyways, I put it on the center, and it just covered up too much of that fabric for me. I really like how cool this looks playing off of the stitch, so I wanted to see more of that, and so I thought, okay, well, let's just do without a bow. And then I, for whatever reason, plopped it off to the side there, and I thought, hey, that actually looks pretty cool. So I like it. There we go. Ghost house. Super cute. Love it. Love this trim. It just looks super cool on there. Adds that extra detailing. Hid all that gapping that we had. You could do some cording with the colors of the floss too, to fill in that little bit extra space there, if you have extra space when you do it. Some, like this one, looks totally fine. I don't know why this one was so glaring. I guess this trim just filled it in a bit better, but this one was just very glaringly, obviously especially on the top I felt. But the other sides weren't nearly as bad, but maybe it's just the way I had that trim placed on there. Anyways, there we go. So we've got both Candy House and Ghost House. We are getting caught up. So I couldn't find something that worked with this really nice, so I wanted to just stick with the black and white here. I could have done some of the purples or greens, and I think I'll do that in some of the other ones that we do, but this is the top part, and I just wanted to keep something a little bit more neutral. So I made this out of the black and the white that's in the charts, and I'm just going to use that to fill in. Oh, I love that. I'm so happy I went and changed this just to the bigger block. Look how those are just, they turn out so perfect. I love them. Look at this little collection. Like, it's so cute. So there are our 3 little villages. We will have 3 more coming. So there's a pumpkin house. There's the tomb house and the witch's house. So very exciting. Can't wait to see them all come together, but I'm very happy with these finishes. So there we go. That is the little tutorial for the Halloween block party finishes on blocks to make a little village. I'm so excited. I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned something from it. And yeah, if you try out this finish, let me know what you think. If you're stitching along on these, show me your finishes. I want to see, or you're stitching them all together, please share that too, because I would love to see your guys' work in progresses on them. So there we go. So happy. Love them. Can't wait for Halloween now. All right, so next up is Fright This Way. So like I said, this collection, there's the 6 house designs, and then there's 6 word art designs. So I wanted to make these ones with the word art to have the small individual black frame around it, and I wanted them to be signs that I could hang around the house. So you can hang this up, stand something up on display kind of thing all throughout the house. And then the homes, I wanted on the blocks to do a little Halloween village. So I'm choosing to finish them 2 different ways to kind of show you a little bit more flexibility of like how you could use this design if you're stitching them individually. Also would be really awesome to get all together in one big frame as well. But I went with the individual way to kind of show you guys a little bit more different alternatives to how you finish them. So this one was just 2 mat boards, one to put the stitch on, and then the back one I did with fabric and batting on both. And then I put a wire with beads, like the bendy wire, strung the beads on and sandwiched it in between the 2 boards. And then I had added the trims on when I sandwiched these together, kind of like I did with the one block there was a bit of a, you could see kind of the rough. Oh no, you know what it was with this one is you could see the peaks and valleys of the rickrack on the back here. So I didn't like that. So I went in and put this twine in there to kind of hide that. But I love how this came together, put a bow and a button on the top, and it's just the cutest little sign for Halloween. So gonna finish this one off now, and I wanted, this one is Fright This Way, so I kind of wanted to play on the grunge of this. We've got like the broken boards here as the arrow pointing this way, and I thought, you know, I went to my stash of finishing boards. I found this pack of 3 from the dollar store. You get 3 of these, $2.50. They're a bit bigger of a size, which is nice because these finish out just a little, I think it's just a little shy of 5 inches by 5 inches. So this is a nice backer size. And then I found an arrow because Fright This Way. I thought maybe we play with the arrow a little bit, see what we can do. But then I had this idea because of the boards, broken looking boards here that make the arrow. I wanted something that was like, if I had a bigger one of these, I feel like it'd be perfect. Grunge it up. But I only have this small little one, nothing of a bigger size. I don't want to go out and buy things right now. I just want to use what I have. So, you know, maybe we could do something where it's, these are both attached. I'm not sure yet. It's going to be a bit of a, let's play and see what we get. But I thought maybe we could use popsicle sticks. I might be able to break them to get more of that same look. So I really want something that's a bit more grungy and worn down. There's probably a better way I could be breaking these. I'm going to play around and see. But see how, and then if we paint them with some browns and grays to kind of mimic this design a little bit. I don't know. I want to play around with this one and see. I pulled this too because this has kind of that board look that I was thinking of. If we painted that and then went and did some of these over it, this actually might be the cuter, easier finish if I just did that and then framed the center. Okay, I'm gonna play around with some ideas, placement on one of these with the arrow in this, and then I'm gonna do the same with this. We'll get this on a, let's go and get this on a mat board first so that we've got it down to the size we want and it's easy to kind of place on. The one thing I did have to check is, oh yeah, oh there's a hole. Well that's fine because I could put a ribbon on top. So this had like the little stick in there for, to make it look like a pumpkin. So that's just glue. We can get that off there. This was also a dollar store thing. So, I'm kind of leaning towards this because it's already a nice, easy to stand up. I don't have to, with this, I'd have to put a hanger on it or something, or, you know, then I guess you could lean it against, or put a stand on the back. But I'm thinking this already has a lot of the elements I had in mind with that, whereas this one I have to do a lot more. So I'm gonna play around. I really liked that, you know, like once I see that on there, it's kind of giving me the vibes that I was hoping for. You know, we can get some more pieces to it. I'm leaning towards this. So to have that like really worn, broken down look. Okay. But like I say, let's get this. I want to make sure that this isn't going to be too big, that it's going to hide all the detailing. So if it is, then we might have to go with something like that. I like the idea of having the arrow in there though too, so we'll see. All right. All right, I think I like this option better. Like I say, it's going to allow it to stand on its own. We can still put some kind of a decorative extra on the top. And I like that it's got this wood, sort of a palette sign kind of look already. And then we can break up some of these popsicle sticks and kind of get more of that, like, more of that broken down look, that spooky kind of feel. So I'm gonna paint this, I think, like browns. I'm gonna pull brown, black, gray, white. We're gonna do a bunch of smearing together, back and forth with the brush, different colors to kind of get that look of wood, dirty old wood. And then I'll paint the popsicle sticks too. So if you just dab a little bit of paint on your brush and then work it so it's almost all off, you can get a real nice dry brush detailing to get more of those layers of color and that weathered wood look that we're going for. So we've got our painted board here. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna layer these in here like this. So kind of just do a little layer up of that there. Maybe tuck some of those ends in so not over. Do I want that one in right? No, I think we want to. Oh, maybe we do this. Down there. We'll have to see how this is gonna all play. Wipe my hands here. Yeah, I really like this, kind of like that, hey? It is a bit of a shame that it covers up so much of the board because I think the board turned out really, really cool. And there's a lot of detail in it that it's getting hidden, but that's okay. Maybe we want to pull some of these out more. Okay, I think we're gonna go with that. Now, as far as placement of everything, it doesn't really matter with something like this, but I did really like how it was looking, so I'm trying my best to keep it relatively in the same place. Oh, you guys, this is really cool. Look how fun that is. So I'm gonna go take a bit more black and just darken some of these up just a little bit more. Super cool. And for this one, I don't want to do any extra trim or anything, I think, around it. I'm just gonna glue it on and might do, gotta do something up here. I'm not quite sure what's gonna make sense up there yet. Oh my gosh, I love this finish. This is the best. Okay, so if you didn't have like a baseboard like this that I had, you could easily use one of the wood canvases, any kind of a depth one like this, block, frame. You could use just a plain piece of board as well and just put some sticks going this way to make it look like that as well, and then layer popsicles back and forth on it too. So you could use the same, like if you took your popsicle sticks, and they cut really well with craft scissors, and then you could cut the two ends. I'll just show you instead of pretending. So we could have easily cut the ends off. I obviously didn't cut them straight, but that's not bad. Okay, so then you could put this on. Some kind of other board or sign, whatever you have, right? Break the ends. I broke that one a little. Okay, so you could do something like this, put those on, and then I would just, if you got a bigger one, you could just do them back and forth like this with the round ends in the center, because that's all going to get covered up by your piece anyways. So you could do something like this and just back and forth, and then when you want to put one over that joint, wherever that joint piece is, so that it looks like a full piece. Okay, so you could do something like that. It doesn't have to be, if you don't have something that's already got that wood grain and these little risers on it. Because this turned out so cool, I would suggest doing, like, if you have any kind of a canvas board, a frame that you want to do this with, you can just do this kind of idea. Actually, even if you took a wood frame, so if you had a square wood frame, you could do the same thing. Paint the wood frame and then just layer popsicle sticks back and forth and then have your sign in the middle of it. Lots of possibilities. This is really cool though, guys. I love how this turned out. It's just exactly what I had envisioned. Love it. So super easy, was really fun. It's kind of cool when you make something like that to be like, when it actually comes together how you envision it. Always fun. So I just don't know what to do with the top part yet. So I was thinking, like, I don't want anything too... It's really hard because, like, a bow and button doesn't really... This is so spooky, and I don't have any, like, Halloween charms or things to put in there, so I might, for now, I mean, I could put another broken board on the top, but I feel like it does need something else. What exactly, I am not sure. So I forgot to hit the record again while I was doing this, but I made a bow for the top and it took me a bit to kind of figure out what I wanted. I'm gonna go with this for now. I might find later that I find something else down the way, but I think I like the look of this. It's still, you know, ties in with my Halloween decor, ties in with the other pieces with having this, and then I just went with a giant button in the middle. I crossed it over with some black and white yarn thread and just put that in the center there. So I think that's perfect. It's got that, you know, really, it's got the look I was going for with the decrepit, broken down, you know, like spooky feel with the wood. I love how that turned out. This is really fun, and it still has, you know, a little hint of my decorative style for Halloween. It'll look good with all the other ones. You know, it looks like it's still part of the collection. So I'm really happy with how that came out. I cannot wait for Halloween to be able to display these pieces because they are really fun. I'm loving this collection and I cannot wait to go through and do the remaining, I guess I only have 5. I think I might have said I had 6, but there's 7 more to go then. That's, wow. Okay, we're gonna have some fun getting the rest of the collection of these done and seeing them all together. So here's the 2 signs. Love them so far. I can't wait to see the rest of them, but totally fun. Let me see what you guys are doing, how you're finishing yours. If you get inspiration from any of these finishes, definitely tag me and let me know. I hope you guys got something out of this video, and happy crafting. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Erin Elizabeth Designs. And if you enjoyed what I had to share, please subscribe and hit that like button. You can also turn on the little bell to be notified for my next video.